It's like the white elephant in the room when you're with your girlfriends. There's something lingering and you want to say something, but you just don't. So we're going to have a pretty frank conversation about menopause. So I've invited my girlfriend Melina to share some of her information and some of her knowledge about the M word. It's a new fridge. I like playing around with my new fridge. And of course, right, fridges always go when you're having company or something.
It's so true. Thank you.
There you go. Well, so good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, okay, so it's interesting. I was thinking about you because I had a conversation with one of my girlfriends, and you know, hitting those 50s and later, things change. And so she was talking about, you know, she just wasn't feeling right. And it was funny because I kind of skirted around the whole conversation, not saying the M word, and so finally I said, well, are you going through menopause? And she says, I don't know, I guess so, like the age is right. And so yeah, we just started talking, and there's just, we don't talk about it. It's like, it's worse than I think talking about menstruation, but the only time you talk about that is when you have a daughter that's becoming a woman. But why is that, Melina?
Yeah, I don't know. I do think it's slowly starting to change. We're hearing a lot more conversation around perimenopause and menopause and female hormonal health. It's definitely improving, but I think we have a long way to go. And I think there's still some taboo. Maybe we feel like, oh, we just need to suffer in silence, or this is just sort of what happens and I just need to grin and bear it. But really that's not the case.
And is it sometimes too, it's like that passing of age, like we're at that age and we don't want to admit it, and it is scary. Is there a sense of loss?
Oh, for sure, because that one whole part of your life, you're not going to have children anymore. If you wanted to have children, or if you did have children, that part is done, and now we're moving into the next phase. But I actually think that next phase is way better. Because now you can focus, right? Like if you have a family, your children are typically a little bit older, maybe you're established in your career, or maybe you're thinking about starting something new, and you have the time to focus on yourself. And then also now with more conversation around perimenopause and menopause, women can be a little bit more empowered to take their well-being into their hands and make some changes or decisions that really help them to feel their best.
Okay, so girl, you've done something really cool, and I know it's not just you. You have, you know, some brilliant girlfriends too, but Menopause Practice, I found out about this, and wow. So I guess obviously you saw the reason for it, but you know, is it all encompassing? Is it a one-stop shop if I call or whatever?
Yeah, it absolutely is. So I have two amazing business partners, Erica Henderson and Annabelle Reimer. And Erica and I previously owned, or we don't own Body Measure together, which is a private metabolic health clinic here in the city. And we have a lot of female clients in the Body Measure business. And we started to hear all of these things, very common stories about issues with struggling with weight, not feeling like yourself, brain fog, hot flashes. And then we also saw bone density issues. And Erica and I were like, you know, something needs to be done here, and we can do this. We can do it well. We can make women's health better. And we partnered with Annabelle Reimer, who's really the absolute expert in hormonal management in the province. She's certified with the Menopause Society, and so she is the absolute expert. So the three of us coming together was really like the perfect package, and we've created a place where you can come in, and it is a one-stop shop. We can look at your bone density, we can look at your hormone levels, we can do a PAP if we need to, we can look at nutrition, and all of that in one place.
Well, what are some of the common things that you see throughout this?
I think the biggest thing that we hear is, I don't feel like myself. I don't know what's going on. I'm not happy, or I'm angry. Things make me angry that didn't make me angry before. The hot flashes and an inability to manage their weight. So maybe, you know, go on holidays, gain 5 pounds, and you do what you used to do 10 or 15 years ago, and that 5 pounds comes right off, and now that doesn't work anymore. Or you're really centralizing fat around the belly, and then also big concerns around bone density.
That's a huge issue, and what can we do about it?
So there's lots of different things with regards to bone density. Yeah. So being proactive and getting a DEXA scan, a bone density scan earlier in life. So if you can have one done in your early 40s, because you build up the majority of bone during your late teens, early 20s. And then that sort of carries you through the time in your life when you start to lose bone density, which is when you start perimenopause. And then really in menopause, it'll take a big drop. So if you know early in your 40s what your bone density is, then you can take proactive measures if some are necessary. So strength training is really important, weighted jumps, making sure that you're getting enough calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K, magnesium, getting a lot of protein to help build muscle, which supports bone health. And then later on, as you enter menopause and your hormones drop, then you can look at doing hormone replacement, which is really quite beneficial for bone density.
Wow. Okay, that sounds like an awful lot. Oh.
It sounds like a lot, but it's really not, right? Like if you know, we firmly believe in information is power. And if you have the numbers and you know where you're at, you can make very small lifestyle changes. So I listed off a big thing for you here,
Right.
but really in reality, that's like, you already work out, so that's making sure that the workouts you do are strength-based, right? So that we're trying to build muscle. So that's an easy little switch. And then you probably already take a multivitamin in the morning or maybe a few other things. So then you're just making sure that those vitamins are really targeting the supplements that you need. And then you already make dinner for you and your family, so you make sure there's protein on the plate, right? So it's not huge.
Right.
And it's very doable, and they don't really cost any money. And so those small lifestyle changes can have huge impact in your well-being and longevity.
Yeah. How have you coped through all of this?
So I'm in perimenopause right now. I'm 47, and it started where I was would wake up in the night like absolutely so hot, and then my husband would be there and I'd want to rip off the sheets and I'm like, it's so hot in here, and he's like, it's freezing in here. and then not sleeping well, really like waking up at 3 a.m. and the brain is racing and all of that, and having quite low energy. So Annabelle, our nurse practitioner and my business partner, she did an extensive blood work on me, and she's like, oh, your progesterone's quite low already. So put me on some progesterone. So I take 2 of those before I go to bed at night, and that really helps me sleep. Then we also found out that I was anemic, so I needed more iron, which when you're in perimenopause, your periods can change and they can get quite heavy, which can then cause you to become anemic. So those 2 changes, and that's made a big difference in my energy level. Obviously, when you're sleeping better, you have, your brain is clear and you're able to get a lot of things done during the day.
Oh my goodness. Well, and you have 2 daughters.
I do.
So I have a question. Is menopause, perimenopause, is it kind of passed on from mother to daughter, or if my mom, whatever my mom had, or if she didn't have any problem, I would be fine? Is there any kind of genetic, I guess?
I think there's definitely a genetic component as to when you'll start perimenopause and menopause. As far as symptoms goes, I do think it's probably, you know what, I actually can't answer. That's a great question, but I wouldn't want to give the wrong answer. So I have a feeling it probably is related genetically, but I'm sure each person is individual as well.
And I'm sure it has a lot to do with your lifestyle. Like we already talked about this, exercise and eating properly, but it does, right?
Yeah, if you're generally taking care of yourself, your symptoms may be less, but not always the case, right? Because we have clients that come in and they're doing everything right, everything that they're supposed to be doing, everything that we're told we need to do, eating right, exercising, getting a good amount of sleep, but they're still really suffering, and the symptoms can be quite severe.
Oh my goodness. And why now, I guess, is it still so hard to talk about?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stigma around the things that women go through. And traditionally, those types of things were always kind of kept in the back room and we didn't really talk about it. And like you and I were talking about earlier, just conversations around menstruation and the things that can happen around that. But I do really think that things are changing, and at the end of the day, it's up to us as women to have those conversations, instigate those conversations, create places where we can have those conversations together, and not be thinking that we need to kind of suffer in silence alone, right? Because every single woman will go through this.
I know, it's crazy, but Menopause Practice, does it help the men too?
Well, it can help it can help your partner for sure. And if your partner is happier, then that just creates a generally happier household. Yeah.
Generally, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and because men will say, okay, yeah, you're just having that time of month, and I mean, certainly when you're going through menopause, it's always different, and you're, like you said, mood swings. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think not only do women need to talk about it and be educated, I think men do too.
Absolutely, absolutely, because it is a huge transition and things are really changing drastically, and there's a reason why they're changing. And so I think if there's a general understanding as to what's going on, then everybody can just be a little bit more patient and have a little bit more empathy for what's going on, right?
Well, I am certainly going to check out Menopause Practice, and I think this is wonderful. It's finally a safe place for women to go to and get some advice. And yeah, okay. Well, I think I hear Rocky coming into the house, so we'll have our water.
Yes.
And but thanks for dropping by.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. If you want more information or would like to talk to someone, go to menopausepractice.ca.